This video is sponsored by my good friends at Sage Accounting. If you do not know who Sage is, I am about to change your side hustle life. As we know, managing your personal finances and managing your business finances are two very different things. When it comes to your business, you are thinking about your cash flow, you are thinking about your invoices, and trying to make sure that you pay people on time and that they pay you on time. And for that, you need to keep track of all of your money and know exactly where all your business's money is, where it is being spent, and how it is being spent. And for that, you need to have a reliable accounting software. And I have been using Sage for the past year since I started working with them, and it has been incredible, guys. I have never felt like I have been this much on top of my business finances than I have since I started actually tracking it and making sure that all of my accounting is sound. So I highly recommend that you guys check them out, and they've been so kind as to give us 30 days free when you sign up with the link in the description, or when you sign up for a Sage Accounting, use my affiliate referral code FREEDOM and you will get your 30 days free. But obviously the easiest way is to just click on the link in the description. Thank you so much, guys, and let's move on to this video. Hi guys, and welcome to Small Steps to Freedom, the best place for anyone who wants to achieve financial independence and even early retirement. In today's video, as part of our partnership with Sage, I am interviewing IVYN SAMBO, and if that name doesn't ring a bell, you're clearly hanging around the wrong parts of Twitter, because IVYN is basically the god of personal finance, especially for students. He is doing so much work in the personal finance space. He hosts so many valuable spaces on Twitter. His YouTube videos get so many views because they are that valuable. So I'm really excited to be hosting him today. IVYN, I know that introduction definitely did not do you any justice.
It did, actually. I'm like, I was still sitting here, I'm listening to it, like,
It's all true though. You do so many things. Like, as I mentioned, like I talked about the personal finance work that you do. You're also a student on top of that. Guys, his studies low. Like, and he still gets time to create YouTube videos and to tweet. So yeah, I don't know how you do it. Where do you get the time to be that awesome?
I was sitting yesterday, right? I finished typing something. I was like, actually, I didn't even find the time to even finish typing this. Like, where was the time? I don't know. It just happened. But one thing I always say, a diary. Diary and Google Calendar, best friends. Keep those things as your friends and everything will run smoothly. Trust me.
I think especially now, because we're all working remotely and people are studying remotely. Like, everything is basically happening like online. So you have to be on top of it.
And then one thing I love also is that Google Calendar and Google and Gmail are linked.
Yeah.
Like, so I can just do everything and plan my entire week just on my emails, you see. And that's the beauty of it. I think that's how I find time, basically.
I think, as you guys can already tell by the way IVYN is talking about Google Calendar, the fact that he is a busy man. He is a very busy man. So I'm very excited to have you here with us.
My pleasure.
The fact that you made this time for us is amazing. So in today's video, the reason why we actually have IVYN here today is I want to talk about personal finance and what it means for you, like making money online, because that has also been a journey that you've gone through, I think, in the past year, like building your brand, and also like how do you balance all of those things that you have happening, right? So maybe this actually by a quick introduction. Of course, I already introduced you, but I think it's always fitting for you to introduce yourself as well.
I always struggle to introduce myself. I know I always hate introducing people. Even if I host a Twitter space or whatever I do, I'm even speaking event and I have to introduce someone, I always hate. I'm like, you need to introduce yourself. I always fail to introduce myself. But the best way to also, I love to introduce myself is that I'm just a guy who loves money. Like, in all honest, I'm just a guy who loves money, loves having fun, loves to speak about the journey between making money, keeping money, growing money, and having fun with money. Basically, I'm that guy. And also, I'm a big advocate for student issues, whether it's through finance or it's through student activism on campus. For those, many people actually know me from my student activism on campus and the things I do on campus, and even the Twitter and YouTube and TikTok things I do. So that's the person I am. Basically, I'm an activist, general.
Yes.
Activist, a whole round of activism, finance, like everything, basically everything. That's me.
You're everything. Like we even forgot the title of the fact that you're the COO of a radio station. I think it's for UWC.
Yeah, I was actually. I stepped down 2 weeks back actually.
Okay.
Yeah, because I got a new role. I'm now the treasurer of the Mood Court Society, so I couldn't balance everything. So I had to let the UW's radio go and to focus on the Mood Court Society.
I think that's so fitting for
Yeah.
someone who loves money to be the treasurer.
You see?
Like that's like the
It
best
makes sense.
person.
It makes sense.
It
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense. But thank you so much for introducing yourself. As you guys can see, like obviously you
Yeah.
have so many things going on, right?
Yeah.
So maybe let's start with the fact that you love money. Where does like the idea of loving money? Because I think for society in general, money is such a taboo topic, right? We
Yeah.
barely talk about it, one. And when you do talk about it, it's such a touchy subject. You're always thinking about, well, am I saying the right thing? Should I really ask that? So how do you find the confidence to come out and say, I love money? Because for most people, like that statement
It's taboo.
is taboo,
Yeah.
right? It's like, you love money? What do you mean? So can you explain to us what you mean when you say you love money?
One thing I'll have to say when I touch about that story is that I come from a family. I was raised by a woman, great, powerful woman. From my mother to my grandmother to my auntie. Those people didn't directly teach me, besides my grandmother, who directly sat me down and told me about money. But there were so many things I noticed about them that influenced me and how I see my money. As I said, I was raised by my mom. I think from when I was born until I was 13, stayed with my mom. She was a single woman with just me and her alone.
Yes.
And she always was a woman that couldn't manage money, but always good in making money. She always find ways to make money. Like there was not even one thing. She wasn't employed. Never in my whole life to this day, my mom has never worked.
Yeah.
But she always knew how to make money. Whether it's through selling perfume, selling Tupperwares, doing people's hair. She always was good with that, but she was never good in keeping money or managing money. And that's something I noticed growing up. And when I turned 13, I moved to stay with my grandmother from my father's side. And she was a woman that had a stable job. She was good in managing money, but was bad in actually making money. Because she only relied on the money she got from her job. But the one thing that my grandmother did that to this day bakes and made me was that every month end, before the 15, when she used to get paid on the 15, she would sit me down, say, hey, IVYN, here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that needs to be paid. Here are the bills I owe. Here's the money that's going out for food for 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And that's the money I'm left. If you want something, you must take it from this money. And from there on, like every single time I would get involved in the planning, the budgeting, I would even go pay the bills, like electricity. Sometimes I'll go pay the bills. Sometimes like I would take care of everything. So that to me built the confidence to understand money at a young age. Imagine a 13-year-old going to pay bills, going to pay TrueWest, going to pay ESCOM. Like I knew all of those things, but my grandmother sat me down. My aunt, who's a businesswoman, she makes clothes for a living, never worked herself. But as someone who was always a hustler, I saw how she was able to even fix the errors my mom was not good at in terms of managing money. She was able to make money, manage money, and keep money. And those women build the confidence in me to say, actually, money is beautiful.
Yeah.
If you have a good relationship with money, and money is also not just a physical relationship, it's emotional, it's spiritual. Like there's so much depth into money that we ignore. We think just something to spend and have fun, or something to spend to invest. So like there's a deep connection about it. I think that's it for me. Like I don't know if I'm making sense, but that's it for me. Like
I think that totally makes sense because I think that for me, what you're describing is the freedom and flexibility that comes with money. Because in as much as money might be a taboo subject and we don't like talking about it, and saying that you love money might sound like such a bad thing, but at the end of the day, we need money for almost everything.
And
if
that's
you
the
think
thing.
about
And that's
it.
the thing. I said I was raised by my grandmother for much of my teenage years. Also, that's where I was exploring the world. You know, when you're teenagers, you wanna drink, you wanna do 1, 2, 3. And my grandmother understood the idea of empowerment with money. Understood the idea that you need to understand yourself as an individual and the role money plays in your life. I remember there was one time, I'm not sure what they call it, drifting, but back home we call it spinning, car spinning. The open one in the township where I come from, Kanyamazan in Pomalanga. Sorry about that. And I wanted to go there. And the ticket, I think the ticket was like 120, if not, I think it was 120 ticket. But Karima sat me down and she said, Ivan, I have the 120. I can give you the 120. But I want to tell you, I want you to tell me what time you're going to leave home, what time you're going to come back, who are you going with, blah, blah, blah. And all that. And said, the reason I'm giving you money is not just for you to go there, but it's also for your safety, your emotional, like the way he explains it made me understand that her taking the money, not just trusting, but she's building a level of connection with me through the usage of money. And I, like, literally, that's the most simplest thing, but to me, it was so much deep into it, there's so much depth. And I said, the idea of money is just more than just having fun, it's just more than spending it. People are building connection with money, people are building trust with money, people are having a spiritual connection with money by just interacting with each other. And that was me.
I think when you say the spiritual connection with money, I think about those posters that we see like randomly plastered everywhere, like come to see Dr. Sam Inyanga or something that is like, I'm going to give you a snake that'll kill you.
What they call this wallet? What is the name of this wallet? They say that you buy it every month to find money inside that wallet.
That is exactly what comes to mind for me. But I love how you describe the relationship people have with money and like the different dimensions that it actually touches on. And like the relationship that you have with your grandmother, I think is a rare one, especially for like the Black community, right? Like we don't talk about money. Like I can definitely say from like growing up, all the lessons I learned about money was just observation, right? I learned the fact that you need to earn money. I learned the fact that you need to work hard for money, right? But I never really learned like how to keep it and all of those things. But your grandmother did that completely differently. She sat down with you and showed you like, okay, Ivan, this is the budget. This is how much I'm going to pay for True Words, for ESCOM, for whatever,
like,
so that you can
everything.
see.
Like I even knew her salary. And literally, black parents don't tell you how much they earn.
I don't even know how much any of the adults in my house used to earn.
And I'm not saying they must tell their kids, but both case to case based on what a parents feels like, right? But for my grandmother, it worked. The idea of sharing how much she earned, how much she paid for this and that and that and that, because it built not only a level of trust between the two of us. I'm a child; she doesn't need like that to do that, but she decided to do it, and it built a level of connection and trust. And not only that, but me a sense of responsibility. Because if I open the fridge and I decide to take something that I know how much it cost, I know how much my grandmother earns for me to waste food. I know how much electricity costs for me to not to leave the lights on. I knew everything, so I took everything with a sense of care and a sense of understanding and agency. Literally, that's my whole life. What I understood each thing and how much it cost. But majority of kids sometimes cry for things, ask for things. I'm not saying kids, I'm talking about teenagers. And make noise about this, but they didn't understand the value and the stress and the emotion that parents go through to understand, to get those things. And my grandmother made me understand by ensuring I sit down every single month. If I want brand new shoes, she'll tell me, Ivan, money we're left with after everything is 300 rand. If you want shoes, think of a way to take that 300 rand and get those shoes.
Your Adidas must wait.
You must find ways. And I think that's how, like, literally, and I said, I'm not saying people must do that.
Yes.
But find alternative way that you can speak about finances as a family that is conducive for you.
Like normalize the conversation.
Basically normalize the conversation in a different way. But my grandmother was sitting down and planning together the budget.
Yeah.
For someone else can be a different thing. Like now with my little brothers, what I'm doing with them, I understand that I cannot do the same thing with them. It won't work. Mm-hmm. But what I'm doing, that I'm trying to create a sense of understanding the value of things through them, saving for them, for it through themselves. I'll give them money and say, hey, you want a pair of, when my brother sent me a picture, sent me a poster, you know, those posters of drips, when they put the price of drips and all of them, and they posted it on Twitter. You saw it somewhere. I think you saw it on Facebook. Yes. They took it, sent it to me. I said, I'm going to send you 250 every month. Until December comes. It's up to you. By December, the 250 will be enough to buy those pair of drips.
Yeah, you can decide.
You decide to take that 250, you spend it now, Every month when I send it, you spend it, and you get to December, you don't have your shoes. Or you decide to save it yourself, it's up to you.
Yes.
I mean, I'm going to give you the money. But I'm going to give you portion by portion by portion.
Yeah.
Whether you save it or not,
It'll be
it's
like
up
a salary.
to you. It's up to you, see. So I think you must find an alternative way that will work for each child. And I said, I do that with one of my brothers. The other one, I cannot do that. Literally, I can't.
Yes.
Because this personality doesn't fit that. So I have to find an alternative way to teach and talk about money with that brother of mine that works for him. The oldest one, I say, this method works. I've seen it work. The method of me, everything you want, I give it, put in small portions. He saves more money sometimes than I do. Because it works for him. That method works for him. But the other ones, I'm trying to find new methods to work for them. Because this method that works on my oldest, not oldest one, the one after me, won't work the other two. I remember the last one, I won't even try to teach money with the upper savings. I'm just still young. He's still young, man.
Don't let them see the realities of the world just
I'm
yet.
still protecting him. Like, if you want something, I just give now. But as I said, you must find a method that works for each person
Yes.
individually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like the fact that you send him like the 250 every single
Yeah.
month, and then he has to actually save for it. I
Yeah.
think it kind of creates a sense of like ownership and
Yeah.
recognition of like the amount of effort it takes to
Even when he
buy
buys those
a
shoes
1,500 rand pair of
You
shoes.
see,
or
even when he
something.
buys, he understands the amount of waiting and like you'll value those shoes because he saw like he had to save that 250 rand that came. Because even it was a trip that was happening. I think it was when was the trip? We had a school trip. So I don't remember, I forgot the date. He wanted money from my mom. My mom said, I don't have money. They sent me a text. I said, I don't have money as well. I'm just going to send you 250. And that trip was 200 rand.
You
Whether
had to
he went in or took that 250 rand and went to that trip, it's up to him.
none
I'm
of your
not involved. I'm not involved. And it's a good way to teach him. Like later I'm seeing, so like, as I said, last year it worked. I hope this year it will work. He'll buy those shoes by December. I go back home.
Yes.
I find him buy it or not. Even if he doesn't buy it, I won't even have made noise about it because he's taking ownership of his money.
Yes.
And he will treat it the way he wants to treat it.
I love that. I love that. I think, well, whenever you have your own children, you would have figured this whole teaching kids about personal finance thing out because clearly you have some ideas I've never thought about. Now, next time my little sister sends me like a picture of shoes or whatever, I'll be like, okay, I'm going to send you like a little bit every single month and you have to save for it.
Yeah.
I love that. And like, I just love how you speak about personal finance, like in general. It makes it feel a little bit more real because I think when we speak about like the zeros and ones and the numbers, it can feel a little detached, right?
Yeah.
But when you talk about how it actually affects like every single part of your life, it just makes it even more real.
And that's the thing. I feel we have taken a step of putting fundamentals, technicals, big jargon into money that aren't necessary. I'm not saying, as I respect people who study this thing, who study finance, economics, accounting, CA. Those people, I respect them.
Yes.
I have nothing but respect for them. But sometimes I feel like we get too much into those things, the technicalities, the fundamentalities of whatever it is, that we forgot that money is just an exchange of human trust. That's what money is. Money is an exchange of human trust. Basically, when I buy something from you, I'm giving you a piece of paper, and you trust that piece of paper is worth the amount that's written on it.
We've all agreed that it's worth a certain
it's just basically you
yes.
can just define money as basic human trust. It's exchange of basic human trust. So I believe that's the fundamental of where all conversation must start. Human trust, human interaction. So that's why when I speak about money, I want us to be able to speak it in a more humane way. Yes, we can grow and go to stages where fundamental analysis of how to pick stocks are important.
Yes.
All those things, the graphs and all of those things are important. But let's start from the beginning. Let's start with the normal things so that we can be able to understand the human side of money. But I think that's the fundamental. That's the number one fundamental, the human side of money. And I think we lose it. Because if you jump straight to speaking about big terms and all of those things,
Yes.
literally we're losing, especially in South Africa, where majority of people, number one, are uneducated. Number two, we have a high level of employment, poverty, and also we are struggling to even grasp by the concept of the most simplest things. So in South Africa, you can't just jump in and down want to speak about fundamental, want to speak about whatever the thing is that you want to speak about. Start from a human level.
Yeah.
Start from a trust level.
Yeah.
Start from the normal day-to-day thing. And move your way up with the audience that you have. And still sometimes when you move up with the audience or the people that you speak to, always go back to the basics sometimes. There's nothing wrong going back to the basics and speak about them. That's why for me, I will always be the guy that simplify the basics things and stay there.
Yes.
Sometimes, yes, I have books in my room where I sit down and I read hardcore financial terms, and I take online courses, but I need to be educated enough to understand what I'm speaking about. But I can't go now if I finish an online course about, for example, let's say tax. Then I go back now and I speak about tax in more depth and use big tax jargon.
They will drag you. I tell you on Twitter.
I know. Let's go back to simplicity. I believe in simplicity. Literally, I believe in simplicity. And man must stay like that.
Yeah.
Normal human trust.
I think tax is probably like one of the hardest things to simplify.
you know what happened? I think it was last year. There was a free online course UCT was giving.
Yes.
Well, no, not last year when COVID was hitting hard.
Yeah.
Level 5. It was free online course UCT was giving. I think it was one of them was on tax. Right, so I was doing some of those UCT free online courses. So I have time. I'm back home in Pumalanga. I have nothing to do. Schools is closed. I'm like, let me try this one as well. I open it. The first chapter, I don't remember what it was, but it was too many numbers for me to explain. I just closed it.
Numbers.
I never opened that course again. I did not come back to this day. I was like, I'm out. I respect, that's one profession I respect, people that will tax.
No, I definitely respect it as well. Every time I have a conversation with Andre the tax man, like, I'm always like, what are you even saying? But it makes sense. But I'm like, I still don't necessarily completely grasp it.
I respect tax people.
Yeah.
Like, one of my mentor, she's an attorney, right? And in her firm, there's one, it's an old belly white guy, deals with tax. He goes there and he's like, this guy, you see how old he is, you think he's stupid, one of the smartest people. And when we have a conversation about tax, this old man does things the old way, write them piece of paper down. And I'm like, why don't you just use, like, no, this tax thing.
It's real.
It's real. Just use your papers, write things down. Computer will bore you as well. Write things down the whole way. It will work for you. I've been doing this thing for 60 years. It works with a piece of paper. It works. I'm like, no. I respect those people. I give them my almost respect. I give them respect. I that's one fold. I will miss me. And thank God I don't pay that much tax. So I don't have to
I pay so much tax. It's painful, actually. Like, I wish I didn't know how much tax I pay, but it's a lot.
Because I remember last year when tax year closed, right? I never usually paid tax. So last year when tax year closed, they sent me a WhatsApp, not a SMS about money I owed. You know how much I freaked out? I was like, for the first time I need to pay tax. I'm a student, so I didn't want me to pay tax. I'm a student.
Ivan, I think for a student, you do a lot, right? So there's ways that you've been making money, right? Let's actually move on to that and talk about how you've been making money. And starting with what I can point out, you can obviously like let us know if there's other ways you've been making money. But there's your brand. You have a very powerful brand. We all know who IVYN SAMBO is.
Yeah.
We all follow you on Twitter and Instagram because you offer so much value, right? But let's talk about the money side of your business, right? Because in as much as it's nice to tweet and it's nice to post YouTube videos and things like that, it's enjoyable. It still takes a lot of effort, and it does take money as well, right? There's equipment, there's your time as well, because you could have spent that time studying. You could have done something else, right? So how have you monetized your brand so far? And how old is your brand, by the way? Because I think that is a very important thing to highlight there, because your growth has been phenomenal.
I struggle to also define but when we speak about my brand, but yes, the finance brand is still new. In the finance space, I'm still new. I think I'm a year, 8 months in the finance brand, but my brand, I've been monetizing for almost 3 years in other fields. As I said, I'm one person that's always been on Twitter before I even blew up with finance and all of those things. I think I had like 10K followers. I was speaking about politics. I was a political individual, political student, activist, and I've always been vocal on issues of politics, and I always had gigs and paying gigs about it. I've monetized my brand before this. So I think I lost your question now. I think I lost the question. What was the question again? I think I lost it there.
So I was asking is how do you monetize your brand? So obviously you've been doing this for longer than I thought, because I came across you or became familiar with your work when you came into the personal finance space, because that's what I'm interested in. But obviously you've been doing this before you even got into the personal finance space. So how has like building your brand been, and how have you monetized that? How do you monetize a brand to begin with?
Let's start. For example, first you need to start to define what brand you are in and what space you are in. Because for me, as I said, I've been branding myself before that. I love branding. Niching and breaking down the person that you are and what you need to aim to do has always been something I've been passionate about. And for me, the first step, let me just go back a little bit. At the first time I had a brand there, I think it was I think it was for government, actually, Department of Higher Education, I think in 2017 or 18. The first time I did my first gig ever, a speaking gig. And that was because of the influence I had within student activism, within student brand, and within student issues. So the Department of Higher Education was having an event, was a seminar, invited me to speak, and I got paid for it. Like, okay, people get money for having a huge audience and speaking about issues. Okay, I like this thing. I love being an activist. I get paid for it. Let me do it. But the way I monetize my brand, I monetize my branding in 4 ways. Number one, my speaking gig. I think that's one that I get paid a lot, and I'm able more money through it. Speaking gig, I do a lot of corporate speaking gig, especially for those who are targeting the audience I have. Sorry, and those who do internal gigs. Even like before I came here, I had so there was a wine tasting farm that was having some type of a community outreach program that they're doing and wanted me to come and speak to the young people. And I think that's the one way I monetize my was through corporate engagement, corporate speaking gigs. And the second way is through having platforms. As I said, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. Those are the platforms I have. I monetize them through brand partnership. And that's the thing with brand partnership as well that we need to speak about. People don't understand that brand partnership has never been about numbers. It's never been about numbers. I think 2 months back, I made more money on Instagram than I did on Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok combined. And my Instagram is the most lowest number. I think like 1,800 followers. But I made more money in that month than both of the other platform, all three other platforms combined, because I had huge engagement in those platforms. And I think that's the one thing many people are afraid of doing. They're afraid of creating content or branding themselves in a particular platform because they don't have the numbers. It's never about the numbers, it's all about the engagement. That's it. I have branded myself in those three platforms, which is Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok. And I monetize them through brand partnership, especially TikTok, because there's no paid views like in America. TikTok works. Yes. So I've been able to monetize my platform using them. I use brand partnership, and I've been able to work with phenomenal brands so far. And I love the brand that have been able to come through and work with me. And also, secondly, one way that I've branded myself, like a fun way to earn money is through the community that I have. And I think people think because brands do not approach them that they cannot make money through the platform because there's no brand deals. Sometimes build a community that will need value from you and add that value. And sometimes find a way to use your community to be able to earn money from them. Because your time, you need to be compensated for it. Be able to host events. I've read I'm doing right now with my webinar. That's a way for me to monetize my brand, to get the things I want. For example,
yes, by the way, in case this video comes out before you have your webinar, IVYN is hosting a webinar. I think there's Level Lion in there. Who else is in there?
Ferry, there's
There's
Anton there. There's a list is endless.
If you're already on our the Twitter corner that the personal finance space is in South Africa, you should totally watch that. Attend that webinar. I think the tickets are 120 rands.
It's 200 rand.
200 rands, guys, and. Yeah, I think it's going to be so valuable. Yeah. And what I really like about the webinar that you're hosting, and sorry for cutting you off, but what I really like about the webinar that you're hosting is that you are actually intending to use that money to fuel other ways of actually bringing more content to people. So I think that's such an innovative way of just thinking outside of the box in terms of not necessarily relying on getting a brand sponsorship in order to do what you want to do. But
that's the one thing. People have numbers. I was listening to this other content creator complaining that brands don't want to come through, brands don't want to do this. I'm like, you create content about things that people like. You create content that people love, and you have so much following. People are willing to pay time to sit down with you to understand how do you do this content, how do you push your content, how do you build your platform. How about you start having consultation hours for that, and people pay you for that. You charge 200 rand for an hour of talking about how to niche down. You charge whatever amount of money to speak about how to even draft videos, edit videos. But there's so many people want to enter the space. Imagine brand deals are not coming to the play. What are you doing to earn money from the audience? You can't be having 100k followers and relying on brand deals.
Yeah, no.
You
Not in
cannot
this day and
be.
age
You
with
cannot
digital
be.
products.
You cannot be. And that's why I said for me, I brand my words. I earn through monetization as well with especially with YouTube. YouTube monetization, one of the best ways to earn money. And I think a lot of YouTube monetization, no matter if your views are low, but if people are engaging from beginning to end and watch your ad, you make more money than you can even imagine.
Yes.
Sometimes even more money than people who are getting 100K views. If
Yes.
just people love your content, they're willing to
Because
support and watch
YouTube
through.
works weirdly with the what do you call it? The cost per,
Yeah.
is it cost per view or cost per ad? I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then one thing also that goes on come to monetization in YouTube is that also YouTube itself, as I said, I'm planning to even go to this YouTube membership. I'm thinking of launching one next year. I'm busy creating content that will be part of YouTube membership. And that's a way as well that you can monetize your content using your platform, using your audience, not even relying on YouTube ads or relying on brand deals, but relying on your audience. Because if you create value to your audience, especially for us who are in the personal finance space, if you're able to create genuine, true, simple, easy to understand content, trust me, your audience is willing to pay money for that. Even if you make it free, they're willing to join YouTube membership and pay a monthly fee just to keep yourself, to keep you going, because they understand the value that you're adding.
Yes.
And that's something I'm looking into. And that's something for me, monetization doesn't only but rely on brands. I don't want to rely on brands. As much as I enjoy the creation of content, for me, it's when I started doing it, essentially, it wasn't even planned me to move in the content space. The finance personal space was like, I always had been the information, but I always kept it to my friend. And one of my friends told out, Ivan, how do you buy shares?
Yes.
And I just shared that to him. I just made a threat. And boom, it blew out. People started asking me more questions. Like, okay, just do this thing. For me in my mind, I thought this was simple. People always understood this. People know this. I like, you do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and boom, it blew out again. I'm like, okay. And before you know it, I became a huge brand in the personal space. What wasn't something I intended to do. Mm-hmm. And as much as I went deep into understanding it, I started finding out that you can even actually make more money than you can imagine. Twitter people came a lot. Literally, my DM was filled. People, hey, Ivan, give me your number. I'll send you money. Hey, Ivan, let me just give you 1, 2, 3. Hey, Ivan, come on. Even sending. People from Cape Town were sending. I remember I went back home in Pomana. People from Cape Town shifting things just to help. Yes. Some people are even driving from Komazi to come and help.
Oh, that is beautiful.
So that you see that how like monetization of platforms. I'm saying that monetization, but that just shows that sometimes you give genuine information, people always have your back. Yes. Sometimes people are even willing to give you money.
It's the community and the connections you build. Yes.
And that's the one thing I've seen that for me, that monetization also wants to stay. You're saying, I want to also rely on my community and my people. Mm-hmm. Because if I continue to give them good content, they will always keep me going. They'll always be able to say, hey, Ivan, we understand that you're also still a student. Or Ivan, I still understand 1, 2, 3. Here's a way for you to keep on going. And that's it. I'm moving to YouTube membership where people can subscribe into exclusive content that will be available on my YouTube and all of those things. And I was able to earn money. So I think that's the one way that not only young people, but mostly students, especially students, because they're free Wi-Fi on campus. We have laptops, we have our cell phones. I'm not saying it's the easiest thing to do, but it's one of the possible way to earn money for yourself.
Yes. Yeah. But like nothing is easy at the end of the day, nothing, you know? Like if you want to make money, you're going to have to deal with some pain.
Yeah, nothing is easy.
But I like that. So mainly so far you've been making most of your money from brand sponsorships, and that's something you want to shift going into 2022.
Yeah, I want to shift. Like 2022, I don't want to be a brand reliant person. Mm-hmm. I want my community to be the one be able to push the content, be able to fund the content themselves.
Yes.
Be able to keep on enjoying the content and be able to drive it themselves.
Yeah.
I want that as well. And the brand, and one thing I love as well is the corporate brands are speaking deals that I do. Speaking gigs, so not deals, speaking gigs. Those are one of the most enjoyable things I do. And one thing about it, so you don't even need to promote them. Mm-hmm. Like literally someone will book you, say come, we don't even need you to pick a picture. We will market ourselves. We'll market ourselves and market you. Or just come and speak. And that's the most beautiful thing. I love doing corporate speaking gigs. I love them so much. Not only corporate, I do some with our students with universities. UCT booked me last month. Even my own university, University of Western Cape now is booking me. I've been speaking there as well. I love the speaking gig as well. That's one way that you can also monetize yourself. Yes. Be able to align yourself with brands in a most holistic way. Not even with a specific brand, but sometimes I'll hate it. Especially on fan Twitter, you see people align. I'm a huge fan of Easy Equity. I'm still speaking ill of them.
Yes.
I'm not speaking ill of them. I'm a big fan of Easy Equity, but I always hate people that align themselves with the specific brand. See people on Twitter align themselves too much with Easy Equity.
Like Easy Equities is the only one that you can use, but
yeah.
there's actually quite a lot. It's just that Easy Equities is just popular.
Yeah, you see, and I'm saying like as a content creator, you need to align yourself with the brand. I'm a huge fan of Easy Equity. People know that. I promote them. I will do that because it's a good platform. Yes, I'll never align my brand to them.
You can't build your empire around them.
Yeah, and that's the same thing. And I think content creators need to do. Move away from aligning yourself with a specific brand. Align yourself with brands in general, so that even if Absa can come and say, "Hey, IVYN, we are launching a new product that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5," it can still align with your brand, and you can still be able to monetize them. Yes. Next time there comes a time bank. The time bank, you can still speak to time bank and speak to audience. Time bank want to speak. Even if you did Absa 3 months ago, you can still do time bank because you're not aligned to Absa.
Yes.
But you're aligned to the industry in general. And that's the one thing that people need to do. That you can do any brand deal, whether speaking or promotion or whatever it is, because you're aligned with the particular audience. Align yourself with the audience, not the brand. Literally do that. Speak to a particular audience. Be able to identify. For me, you can ask me when I'm sleeping, what audience do I speak to? I'll tell you. I speak to young professionals. I speak to students. I speak to mostly females under the age of 35. I speak mostly to male under the age of 30. Most of the time, my analysis tell me that males, I lose them. Those under above 30, they don't like me anymore. I don't know why, but mostly female love me. So I don't know why, Jess, you hate me. I don't know why,
Jess.
Jess.
Very careful with saying that females love you because you recently got a girlfriend. So
no, I'm single, guys. I'm single. I'm single. Yo, I'm single. I'm
not going to comment on that one, but we need to catch up on where the girlfriend went.
I'm single. but just align yourself with a particular audience. Stay with the audience. And brands want the particular audience that you have, and it will come to you. Don't align yourself with the brand.
Yes.
Do not. I see a lot of content creators in finance Twitter. Dude, please just shift away from aligning yourself with the brand.
Yes.
But the brand can fall tomorrow. The scandal can come about Easy Equity tomorrow, can take them down. Mm-hmm. Who are you then after them?
You're the person who are supporting the brand that fell apart. Yeah.
You're no longer relevant.
Yes.
But if you're able to speak to an audience, speak to a community, give value to a community, and stop also I know I'm speaking a lot now. The one last thing. Also stop being I don't know what's the word. I don't know what's the word when you self-face. Always being especially for those who are in personal finance space or in a particular space, stop always being optimistic about their face. Like you see people always giving motivational quotes about finances, like as if they're not human, like there's nothing, like they don't live their life, like there's nothing. I'm like, what were you doing this weekend? Were you drinking? Post about your drinking. Mm-hmm. Or are you out with your girlfriend? Post about your girlfriend. Are you out with your husband? Post about your husband. Are you sad today? Post about your sadness. Show the human of your content. I think that's the way other people feel. Like, you are human. I'm a law student. Today I put a tweet that I'm struggling to even create videos. The next 2 weeks I won't be creating videos. I'm overworked. I have so many things going on. I can't be able to create content. And I was honest to my audience, say, this is what I'm doing. I'm going through a lot. And I let my audience know that. But I don't want to self-face as if I'm this perfect individual. We are not. And content creators need to be able to understand that. Because the second you do that, you open up yourself to your audience, the more your audience love you, the more they relate to you. That even sometimes when you put out content, even when it's sponsored content that is, sometimes I do brands, I'm like, but they want me to copy and paste their tweets or whatever.
Those are the worst.
But they want me to do that, I will do it. And my audience will say it, but they will still engage it. Because what? Because they know me. And they know IVYN is doing this thing and want to earn.
Yes.
They must secure the bag.
Yes.
And they will engage.
We need to secure the bag.
You see,
we need to say. I absolutely love how you are planning ahead for how you're going to be earning money in the future. I think there's like so much to look forward to with the exclusive YouTube content as well. And the fact that you're moving away from like centering around brands, because I think that's something that has been a very big shift that happened over COVID with content creators. Is now it's not just about what brands can I work with. It's about what products can I produce. produce? How can I monetize this by
Yeah.
myself and actually be self-sustaining at the end of the day? And yeah, I absolutely love that change.
And one last thing as well, just to add on that part, is that student content creators, I want to speak to student content creators to be specific. Students are the most creative content creators out there. If you go to their Instagram pages, on average, a student sitting on 3,000 followers on average. A student, majority of those I know, 3,000. I know people who have 500, 600 followers, 1,000 subscribers. They make more money. They make money with their content because they know how to monetize it. I think that's one thing students need to do: start monetizing their content. Trust me, there's always a brand that wants to speak with a particular group that you have.
Yes.
There's always someone that wants, not even brand, but people that want to speak to your audience. Be willing to open up your platform to those people to use your platform. Yes, they must align with you and the values and the principles you hold, but be willing to do that as well. And the last thing as well is that also be willing to put out your product as well. People love what you do. There's a friend of mine, Asemahle, she's the most beautiful woman. Like, she's beautiful there on content. Like, she creates beautiful makeup, takes good pictures. I'm like, people want to know how you put that makeup. Why don't you do a tutorial about that? Mm-hmm. Why don't you open yourself up as a makeup artist because you're always good at that? Imagine people can pay 200 rand to have you do what you did to your face because you do your own makeup.
I mean,
people
we pay a lot of money. Like, for someone like me who is not great at makeup, I would definitely pay someone. Like, people hire makeup artists all the time.
You
like,
see?
it's all about like thinking outside of the box and putting yourself out there.
And I say students need to start doing that because
Yeah.
I see potential. I work with students on a day-to-day basis. I see
Yeah.
their potential. Literally, students, their content, they can go far. Especially South African ones, they can go far.
Guys,
Far,
you heard
far.
it here first. You need to start being a content creator if you're a student. I should have thought of this when I was in university. But like, you know, one thing that happened to me when I was in university is I actually worked, but I wasn't a content creator, of course, but I worked at like call centers because
Yeah.
I also loved money. So I also wanted to get like a few thousand rands
Yeah.
here and there. So I worked. But I literally just blew all of that money. If you ask me today what I did with the money I earned while I was in university, I have no idea. I just bought sneakers. I don't know. I went out.
Yeah.
I just can't account for it, right? So like, how do you manage your money that you're earning from all of these different sources as a student? Because you don't necessarily have as much responsibilities.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that money is just sitting there. So what do you do with it?
Number one, don't feel guilty about what you blowing it on your shit. Don't feel guilty because I promote that. Literally, I do promote that. And those who follow me on Instagram know what I'm saying. They know what I'm saying. Because here's the thing. Every time I earn money, I always put aside money to be blowed. To blow it. With no regret. Mm-hmm. The one thing I always said, money must be enjoyed. Now enjoyment must happen.
Now enjoyment must happen.
It must happen. It's important. So never feel guilty about that because I also promote that. But for me, it's to understand the certain level of responsibility I have and the certain level of joy I want in my life and the level of things I want.
Yes.
So yes, I have my investment. I usually take between 25 to 35% of my money. I put on my investment. I also have responsibility back home because I'm a black child. I have black tax. Whether you see black tax as a good or bad thing, I'm not going to engage in that. But black tax exists. If black tax is real, whether you want to correlate it with black tax or not, but it's there. It exists. And I have to take part in that. As I said, I'm the oldest of now 6 siblings because I have a new baby brother. 6 siblings now. So all of them look up to me, especially my brothers. My sisters, my dad is able to play the role. But my brothers, because my dad and my mom had me alone. So I'm the only child between my dad and my mom. So they separated. My dad has 3 children, my 2 sisters and my new brother. Then my mom, there's only 3 kids, which is my brothers, all of them. Mm-hmm. My dad's able to take care of his kids. So my mom's unemployed, as I said, and my stepdad as well is self-employed, fixes TV, but doesn't make a lot of money about that. So I have to also play a role and help that side. So some of the money I make also goes back home. I said I have my brothers who cry. They say, hey, Poti, I want 2, 3, I want shoes, I want this, but I want to look like other kids. And my role as a big brother to ensure that they feel comfortable, can be able to look like other kids. So also some of my money also goes back home to ensure that I can help and support back home. And also some of it also goes into investment into the content and my brand. Because one thing I want to do, as I was talking before we started recording, that I don't see myself practicing as an attorney. That's one field that I'm not. As much as I'm studying law, I love law, guys. I'll do it over and over again if I have to. But practicing it's something that's not me. Yes, I'll get admitted. I will, but I can't go to school for this long. I don't get admitted. I will get admitted as an attorney, but I don't see myself being the guy to go to court, do all those things. That's not me. So I want to use brand and content creating as a way to sustain myself while I still try to discover where I want to go.
Yes.
You see, but I'm still not 100% sure where I want to go, and that's okay. So, okay, nothing wrong with, we're not all made to figure out life at this age.
I don't think anyone has life figured out, to be honest. We're all just winging it.
You see, and that's for me is to now, every time I make money, is to also invest into into my brand, into my content, to ensure that I can build it up so it can be able to maintain me while I still try to discover where I want to go in life. I enjoy, one thing I enjoy is administration. I love administration. I love administrative law. I enjoy that module when I did it. And even now my research paper was on it. So I'm thinking maybe I'll find something there that can fit me and I'll go into administrative law or I'll go to governance. Maybe something there. I'm still trying to discover myself. So some of the money I earn goes into investing into my content that can be able to even invest into be able to next year. I mean, not next year, but in 2023 when I go to my master's, I can be able to pay for my own master's because it will be hard to get bursaries or scholarship to maintain to go to my master. I want to be able to pay for my own masters, and I want to pay with content as well if it's possible. So that's where most of my money goes into my brand, my investment back home, and then the rest is just my enjoyment. And I'm not gonna stop. Literally, I remember. I think I got a brand deal that gave me. I think it was like 4K, something like that. Here's a quick story. I'm not share that one. Gave me 4K. And that time, I just got my necessary allowance, which was 1.5. So basically, I had like 5.5 that month. And that's the only money I had. That's the only money. My brother is complaining. He wants. I don't know what do you want. Oh, he was going to a school trip. So he calls me like, hey, I have a school trip. Blah, blah. I'm like, no, I can't be able to pay you for the school trip. You're not going there. And my mom as well. My mom is still building back home, so he wants money to help with cement. And I'm like, okay, I can give you a little bit money. So I sent my money to my mom. I think I said like a key. I give him 1K, so I'm left with 5.5. I'm 4.5 now, and I do my investment. I do everything, and I'm left. I think I was left with 2K. I'm like, food. Is food more important than groove?
The decisions you have to make in
I'm
life.
like, is food more important than groove? Now enjoy me a bottle of wine or food. What's gonna happen here? And I still have those issues, and I blow that money on the enjoyment in 1 week. I had to leave on 500 rand the whole month. And there's nothing wrong with that.
I feel like I 100% did the same thing in university.
And I said, like, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, literally, it's nothing, because I believe young people must also be allowed to do those things.
Yes.
You must be able. I know people treat this stuff in your 20s. You must invest. You must save. Like, I'm like, dude, you live once. I want to go explore a farm in Stellenbosch.
Yes.
Wine tasting. See what Bongamla are enjoying there. I want to go to Robben Island, see what Nelson Mandela was. I want to go to Signal Hill, chill my friend, look at the sunset.
You need to do this thing.
I need to do this thing in my 20s. I can't be there now in my 40s while married and while going out. No, I'm going to do them now. But I will do them in a wise way.
Yes.
That's why I promote be able to balance things, be able to have a budget. I stay to my budget. I know me, I'm not offensive. I cook once a week. I eat that food the entire week. I cook once a week. Mostly I cook on a Sunday or Monday, and I cook for the whole weekend. I'm a fan of spaghettis.
Yes.
I love spaghettis, macaroni, everything that way. I love it. So I cook once a week. I know I'm standing for the entire week. I don't eat that much. Most of the time I love eating out with friends. So we eat out a lot. Or if I don't do that, I don't like that much food. And if I love food, I'm gonna cook for myself. And I cook like I go out when I cook. So so that's the thing. I'm able to balance everything, but I think it's important to do that. And most one thing I like that what really people need to understand is that when you do those things, not only are you appreciating yourself, but you are also teaching yourself about life.
Yes.
There's a level of I don't know what the word to use. This English language sometimes runs away. There's a level of connection that we must able to have with money and how money is spent. And must be able to go through all those phases. And one of them is to be able to spend money on yourself and never regret it. Never regret it. If you see a bottle of wine from someone like me that loves wine that costs 300 rand, it's a good Cape Sauvignon Blanc, whatever it is that you always wanted. Put put money and buy it.
Yeah. Now enjoyment.
And enjoy
You only
it.
live once.
You only live once.
You just
but
have to
it's
do it
just
responsibly.
and be able to balance and be
Yes.
able to know, can you live with the money that's left after that?
Yes.
Can you live with yourself after that? Are you gonna be content after picking that purchase? Are you able to be happy with yourself after that?
Yes.
Even if that thing is done, are you gonna be able to be happy with that? And if the answer is yes, do it. I would say, my friends, do it. Because even the day you save that money, then what? You don't have a goal for it.
Yes.
That's the one.
I think that's the worst, actually. I think for me personally, I can't save to save my life if I don't know what I'm saving for.
You see,
like, why am I suffering now? I need to have a reason.
You must have a solid reason.
Yes.
Like, for me, like, why are you saving if there's no goal? Like, it's because you don't know the future. Do you have an emergency fund? It's just build up. Yes, I have an emergency fund. Okay, cool. That's what's saving you for in the future. I have my emergency fund. It's there. That's gonna cover me if something goes wrong. But and I'm going to even put more extra money that's unnecessary in my emergency savings fund. If I reach my emergency savings fund targets, it's okay. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done.
It's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing people try to do. Like, they try so much to be frugal. And look, not be frugal. I don't know if I use the word frugal, but frugal is a good thing. People try to take this American context of working so hard in your 20s. This is South Africa. Relax.
This is South Africa.
relax. I don't know, man. Maybe I don't know. I know I get a lot of backlash every time I put this type of, especially Twitter.
Yes.
Some people always come for me when I say these things, but I'll keep on saying them. If you have no goal of your monies, don't save it. Even if, like, literally you have one savings account, which is immediate savings account, there's nothing else you're saving for in your life. Don't save. Spend it. Blow it.
Yeah.
Enjoy
Or just
yourself.
keep it until you figure out what you want to do with it.
Even sometimes doing that is hard.
Yes.
But sometimes people find it hard to keep money if there's no reason for it.
Well, I guess it's just sitting there.
It's just sitting there.
Yeah.
And unless you want to put in investment, that makes sense. When I invest it for a long term, then do that.
Yeah. But don't invest if it's like something
that
you're going to be tapping into like 6 months down the line or something.
You know what happened? I'm there's this one cryptocurrency that I'm buying a lot into, and I'm like, and put money into it. I was like, yeah, right. Why did I buy that crypto now? I needed money for that money or something I didn't need. Just support your point. Invest with something that you know you will need.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's so important when it comes to like managing money in general, especially if you have money like just coming from different sources like you do, right? You never really know how much you're going to make or when you're going to make it. So like budgeting and really controlling those expenses is like really, really key. Another thing that actually comes in, and I'm interested to hear how you handle it as a student, is the tax.
Yeah.
Because you know that SARS is looking at that money that you're getting from your speaking gigs, from your sponsorships, and they want a slice of it. So like how are you planning on managing the tax side of things?
I don't want to lie, I'm bad in tax.
Yes.
I said that's why even last year when I got that SMS, I was worried. Sorry. I remember that day when I got that SMS, I went to enroll YouTube, and I was just watching. I tried to find ways, like, what the hell is going on? I'm not good with text, but now I've understood that there's a lot of things, especially myself as a brand, I need to be able to, when I do things for my brand, to list them under my brand. Even if it's buying data, it must be able to be listed under my brand. Even if it is buying a new laptop, it's for work. And I'm able now to link everything around that.
Yes.
And also at the same time, I'm trying to stay within the limit of what a student's supposed to be. Hypothetical. I think it's like even in my investment, my easy equity investment, I'm trying to keep them under 60,000 rand. 60. Yeah, 60.
Oh, do they limit you as a student?
60. No, so it's 40. It's 40,000 rand.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess
year.
it's reasonable as a student.
Yeah, so I'm trying to stay within all those grounds, and everything I do, I'm trying to stay within the limit that's given them. But as I said, I'm not good with tax. Like, I'm still struggling to understand tax and the content I'm putting out there and the money I'm earning. Like, I'm still struggling with tax. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I can say I figure tax out. I'm still struggling. But I said last year was like few, man. It was like 800 don't want me to pay. I didn't. When I went to the office, like the lady said some big English word, but I ended up not paying. He said there's no need to pay. I don't know what he said was the reason. I don't remember what the reason was. She spoke, and she had that that deep English twang private school. She had that, and I couldn't understand what she was saying.
Private school English.
Yeah. But what she said, I don't have to pay that money. I was like, okay,
Yes.
cool. I don't have to pay it, because I explained my story and I gave my slips for everything.
Yes.
And she was like, no, you need to pay. You don't need to pay. Maybe it was, I don't know what she said. Honestly, I don't want.
But they cleared it up.
They
Yes.
cleared it up. I didn't have to pay it, and I ended up getting 300 back from them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
okay.
I put 300 from
That's
them.
fantastic.
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah, but
so-
I think like a lot of people share the same experience in terms of like we don't necessarily know what to do with all of this side income that we have like going on. I actually had a YouTube video with Andre to actually talk about that, since he's like a tax expert, right? And he explained basically like everything to us. And I think one of the biggest things, like I've been like drumming this into people's heads for months now, but that you don't necessarily like have to register as a PTY or like an official business, because that actually costs you more tax as compared to just operating as a sole proprietor, which is something I didn't know until I had the interview with Andre, right? But yeah, when it comes to tax, I would also say leave it up to the experts.
And South African tax is too complicated as well.
It is
It's
a
too
little,
complicated.
it is complicated. But like the one tip, in case anyone watching here wants to know, is what I think Andre said or advised. Please, Andre, correct me if I'm wrong. You can comment down.
Comment section,
comment section if I'm wrong, because I'm not a tax expert. But I think he said you need to put aside as a 25% of whatever amount you make from your different income sources as for tax. And then when the tax season comes around, then you have that like pot of money to kind of tap into and be like, cool, how much do I owe SARS? So I was like, okay, you owe us 80K. I'm saying you owe SARS 80K because, if you owe SARS 80K, that means you made a lot of money, which is a good thing. But like, I like that method, because for me, I'm like, I don't know how much tax I'm supposed to pay. Like, I have no idea how much tax Small Steps of Freedom is going to have to pay next year when tax season rolls around.
But that's the one thing I even like to keep. I keep all the slips.
Exactly. That's what I'm doing as well.
Even I buy a time, I screenshot it now. I have a folder on my Google Drive. I just put all those screenshots. I'm like, I don't want to have, I want to have the records of everything.
Yes.
It's under the content creation.
Especially the expenses, like when you buy equipment, because these things are expensive. When you buy your camera, the microphones, and things like that. So
if it starts to make noise, I'll have all the sleep. I'm like, hey, take them. Never sleeps. Fight here.
Yes. Yeah, but like that's really what I have learned from like the tax side of things. I'm still not an expert as well. I struggle with tax too.
Tax is complicated.
But like one of the things I also want to just like add, because this is also a partnership with Sage, guys. Like I've been working with Sage for like a few months now.
Nice,
and
nice.
what's awesome about Sage is that it's an accounting software. So they help you literally manage your finances, like your side hustle income, your business income, right? So your invoices, receipts, your banks. I mean,
you must black me with a link.
the fact that you haven't signed up with my link is also like,
Ivo, you must give me a link after this. You must send me a link, Ivo.
I mean,
Okay, I'll take responsibilities. After this, I'll sign up.
you guys, like they're amazing. I think like any like content creator, any freelancer, anyone who owns some sort of business needs to have some sort of accounting platform where they like reconcile everything, because there's like bank statements you need to look at, there's invoices. Did they pay you in time? Did they pay you late? What does that mean? There's so many things, but I think Sage makes it so easy, which is why I've really enjoyed working with them, because by working with them, I've also been forced to be like, wow, I actually am not doing this business finance management thing right? But yeah, I think I would definitely share the link with you. It'll help. But the tax, let's leave it up to the
tax is so complicated.
Let's leave it up to the experts. But IVYN, I feel like I could talk like the whole day.
I'm enjoying this. Like I'm like, can it not end, please? Can it not end? I'm enjoying this.
I'm enjoying it so much. But I want to get some like words of wisdom, or maybe parting words, especially maybe for the students that might be watching this. Like, what have you learned so far in terms of your like you have an entrepreneurial spirit, right? You've been doing this speaking stuff for a while now. You've been getting into branding, into niching, into monetizing your social presence, right? So like, what is your advice for someone who is a student and is saying, I could use an extra 1,000 rands, an extra 2,000 rands? what should they do? Like, what is the first thing that they need to do? What do they need to figure out first in order to get to the position where you are at now, you're a student making money?
I think the first thing is understanding who you're trying to speak to. For me, I said, there's some people I'm not trying to speak with. I'm not even try to speak to them. Understand who you're speaking to and speak to those people. Stay with those people. Speak their language. Simplify things for them. So understand who you're speaking to. Be simple to them. Never try to be too complicated. And also, one of the most important things, be human. Many content creators, influencers are trying to pull themselves so much to becoming like a top of big micro, what do you call this thing? Micro ones, the huge ones.
Oh, the macro influencers.
They're trying to be those type of vibe will act like they are no longer human. Stay human, but that will keep you relevant.
Yes,
that will keep you relevant. And also, don't be afraid to treat yourself as a business, and don't be afraid to speak up against yourself. And also, because you're a content creator, doesn't mean you're desperate for everything, for every brand deal. Don't mean you're desperate for any partnership. Doesn't mean you're desperate for money. You are not. One thing about me, I've understood. One thing I had to learn with brand creation, that people want to come to you because they want your audience and want to treat you like shit. They want to undermine you. Thinking because they're willing to pay you 10,000 rand for a YouTube video, or I pay you 5,000 rand for a Twitter post, that they can treat you like shit. Be able to stand your ground. Be able to stand who you are and never compromise on that. Never compromise on that. And sometimes it's okay to let brand deals go. It is okay to let a brand deal go. I have let other brand deals. There's some companies that even today, even they send me an email, I refuse to work with them.
Yes.
Be able to do that as a content creator. Be able to know what value you add. And be able to stay loyal to your audience. Never stay loyal to the money. Because people, brand managers, agencies will always try to take advantage of you. Stay loyal to your audience. Stay 100% stay loyal to your audience. Because your audience will keep you relevant. Your audience will feed you everything. Your audience, what they want. So they're coming to your audience. Why you said betray your audience? So if you're a content creator out there, building yourself up, stay loyal to your audience. Create content for your audience. The brands, if they come, they must add value to you and your audience. If they do not, let them go.
Yes.
And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. So that's it for me.
I absolutely love that statement. I'm probably going to tweet it. I think you say it so much.
I truly enjoy myself. I love this conversation. I loved it so much.
Thank you so much, IVYN. I think
really
I learned so much just from listening to you, and I feel like biggest takeaway is your loyalty to your audience and to what you're trying to do with your platform, and how you actually use that money is also so inspirational. I said, guys, the webinar for me is just amazing because
that's gonna be an amazing day, a full day.
Yes.
A full day.
Can literally giving back to the same people that are actually going to be paying to buy tickets to come to that webinar. So I think that is just a beautiful way of monetizing your work.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say, first of all, thank you so much for doing all the work you do. I think so many people are touched by it, people's lives. We see on Twitter, people's lives are changed by what you say, right? So I want to say just thank you so much. And also thank you for gracing my platform as well.
I actually enjoyed being here, literally. These are amazing. I think I took you out of script so many times. Because I just enjoyed the conversation. It was so nice. It was so nice. I enjoyed myself.
Yes.
Literally enjoyed myself.
That makes me really, really happy. Thank you so much. And also, of course, thank you so much to Sage again for sponsoring my YouTube channel and sponsoring this video as well, guys. The reason we're sitting with IVYN today is because of Sage. So shout out to Sage. And also,
thank you.
If you want to try Sage out, the link is in the description. If you have a side hustle, if you have a business and you're not doing your accounting, Texas is not going to be fun. So get everything in order with Sage. The link is down in the description, guys. But thank you so much, IVYN. Guys, comment down below to let me know how much you loved having IVYN here.
And and subscribe to this YouTube channel, guys.
Yes.
Like and subscribe. And leave us a comment.
I also love like and subscribe, guys, and then we'll chat in the comments. But thank you so much, IVYN. This was amazing.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.